Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here in the outskirts scene. It's the Gaming Saloon reviews for July 6, 2025. With your host, Preserve2448, and Ramp It Up Salon.
I guess I probably should have left that up so you could see that I changed the GIF.
I was like, what did he change? Oh, that well, okay.
I was gonna do one of Bravo, but I'm like, wait, no, that's next batch, if I'm not mistaken. That totally will be next batch. Because I'm pretty sure isn't that next batch where we hit Bravo being weird in Helheim?
I believe so.
I know this one's a little light, but yeah.
Apparently, it's the meme the two actors do all the time at stage shows and stuff.
But
yeah, it is 5 through 8 of Gaim, and hey, we get an official writer release in America this year.
Hopefully, maybe.
Have you watched the teaser at all?
Nope.
Fair. It is a vibes teaser. I don't think it's supposed to be really indicative of the series. It might have some generative AI stuff, which is fun. Like it was mainly one background. I felt like this was the evidence that really kind of, to me at least, is like, oh, this is probably AI generated because it has that AI generated quality. Like the picture of the building, those are frames apart, like a frame apart from each other. And it's supposed to be the same building. And then the cars on the roads and stuff has that. Like, to me, two main indicators that something is AI generated is inconsistent structure of an object between frames. Because for some reason, generative AI regenerates what something is supposed to look like every frame, or like every other frame, so the structure can change every frame to every other frame, which is insane to me, because why the fuck would you program it that way?
In case you needed to do something with it, I can kind of understand that, because look at, and Ryder's actually a good example of this. Look at some of the monster transformations.
Yeah.
That would actually have to change every frame. We have had monsters that have been buildings before, so it would make sense that for an AI, everything would have to be able to change if needed.
And two, things have the only way I can describe this is a Vaseline-esque filter over top of it that muddies and causes stuff to kind of like coalesce into amorphous blobs. That probably makes sense to no one but me. But that's the only way I can really describe it. Which really just sounds like I threw out a whole bunch of words.
Yes, it did.
That makes no sense.
What you're probably more kind of referring to, tool 2 would be if someone was using the blur tool way too much.
Yes. I think the only other way to show is like if you took a can of Vaseline and you ran it over the lens of a camera and then tried to film with that lens. That's what it looks like. That's what AI looks like to me sometimes. Everything just becomes murky and blurry and blobbish as things are just blobs of color with no distinct shape or size. And you just can't tell what something is. Also, I think the third thing is, and it's not obvious in this one, lighting gets blown out. Like, things are lit too brightly in AI stuff sometimes, which is the other dead giveaway. Which, like, one other background kind of has that, but not really. Again, it's a like a vibes teaser. It's mainly just there to show off the suit for the main writer. It's not supposed to be really indicative of the series. The Gotchard one wasn't indicative of the series, and this is the same sort of situation. So unless they start using generative AI in the damn show, which, hey, look, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards on bringing over a writer to the stateside. It's almost like this should have been expected.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am fully waiting for them to fuck this up somehow, because they have not said it's a simulcast. They just said it is being aired in several regions.
Ours being one of them.
Yep. They did not say where it would be broadcasted. And they also didn't say how it was going to be broadcasted, whether it's a sub, a dub, or it's just going to be thrown out there.
I feel like if it's a sub, we're gonna be at least expecting a day delay. At
Probably.
least. And that's saying that they're actually commissioning someone to do it. Otherwise, probably a week.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm
just reminded.
A fan of.
No, that feels entirely pointless. It's like, yeah, it's a week later. Why? This isn't the 90s. Why is it airing a week later? Like, Ultraman technically airs on like an hour or so delay from airing in Japan when it goes up on YouTube, but that's like an hour, and that's a broadcasted on TV versus streaming on YouTube situation. That's reasonable.
Reasonable.
Yeah. I assume part of that is probably because of licenses with the television station that Ultraman's airing on. It's like, no, we want our cut of viewership before you put it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm kind of expecting it'll probably go up on Crunchyroll since they did Futopia on Crunchyroll. I'm kind of expecting it to get thrown up there.
I don't know.
I don't know where else they would put it.
I mean, the normal answer would be YouTube.
Right. But I have a feeling they're not going to do YouTube, because why would they do a smart decision? I feel like it's going to be on some sort of service that isn't like a YouTube or a Tubi. It's going to be on a paid service. Granted, I made the joke in a Discord that, like, it'll be streaming on Kick. You know, that Twitch alternative.
And can't wait for that to actually happen.
I only remembered Kick was a thing because I saw an article about someone getting banned off Kick for doing a stupid, and I'm like, I guess that can happen. But yeah, like the teaser seemed fine. The suit looks neat. It's odd that the belt is a satchel instead of a belt, but you know what? Sure. Granted, people have also complained about the yet another Grasshopper Rider and yet another Ichigo homage, and I'm like, well, this one's going international, so they probably wanted an Ichigo-esque looking suit and design.
It didn't need to be. I'm just going to be the one of them to say it. It really didn't need to be. I'm perfectly fine with it being another Grasshopper Rider. Don't get me wrong on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was to quick look at that you showed yesterday, off of Twitter, if I was to quick look at that, I would be thinking that they're trying to bring the original series remastered over here.
Yeah, he is very Ichigo in
not that this is a new rider. That's where my problem is with it. It's like, no, I get what you were wanting to do, but no, that's not good. You've already done that. Most people are going to take one quick look and be like, oh, well, that's already here, and that was meh at best. So, no, I don't care.
We did original series as kind of a reboot situation. That's called Shin Kamen Rider. That came out stateside like 2 years ago. People were fine with that.
That's why I'm like, I feel like this falls into that trap of Toei doesn't want to take even the little bit of research to see if anyone would actually be interested in a normal rider show. So they're like, oh, well, we have to keep doing stuff like the original. That will work, right? Maybe, right? And that's
I will say he does feel like Ichigo through the lens of a 0-1 aesthetic. Because a part of me feels like if you put Zetz in the lineup of 0-1 riders, he wouldn't look too far off from someone from that show.
But we already tried to do that and it didn't turn out too good.
I'm aware. I'm just thinking about that design. I'm like, you could put him next to 0-1, and I would honestly believe he would be the secondary rider of 0-1.
And see, that's the other problem.
With no knowledge.
Oh, and that's the other problem. You actually just full on said the other problem. Because I agree, it does kind of at least have this era's look for a rider. But what you actually just said is really a problem. It looks like it could be a 0-1 rider. I don't understand why they're having such a hard time with this. I really don't.
Oh.
Because
we'll see how this...
Because, let's be honest, we both kind of fell off of Gav, and I think it was because of the fact of it couldn't take itself serious. I know that's why I fell off of it. When the show can't even take itself serious, and we get first major upgrade even, and it still can't take itself serious, yeah, no.
I think I mainly fell off because there wasn't really anything happening in the show.
My point
like
exactly. It's not taking itself serious. We're not having any stakes. The little bit we do have doesn't ever seem like it's going anywhere. From what I saw of it, at least.
Yeah.
What's bad is comparing that to what we're actually talking about today, Gaim. the weakest part of Gaim is this beat writers section here. But it still feels like we're setting stuff up for down the road. Which, yes, I know we are, but it feels like that in the show even. It doesn't feel like we're just doing goof stuff just to do it. And that's what I kept feeling out of Gav, was just we were doing goof to do goof.
Yeah, like they were trying to do some character work with Valen and Ram, and like that was fine. But again, like kind of my weird complaint about a lot of writer shows that I don't end up liking, there's nothing to these villains. They are nothing.
I mean, our main root of the hero villain, as far as main writer kind of deal, is it is family infighting. That's not anything to really push. Now you pivot, you rewrite it, you pivot it to Valen being the focal point of it. You could have had something there. If the roles had been reversed, I think they could have done something better with this show. If we had Valen as the main writer and Gav as the secondary, the show would have been far better.
Yeah. Because as much as Shoma is a part of the family, it seems like no one else in his family fucking cares that he's like doing shit. Like they're just like, oh, he's taking out our agents and stuff and like trying to fight us and take on our empire.
And that's why why I feel like if Valen was the main, that would change that. Because that would still be the, oh well, he's just acting out, it's fine for Gav, but Valen would be the actual, no, we're going to stop him. That is ridiculous.
Like, feels like no one wants to just be like nip it in the bud. They're just like, oh, let him just, who cares? He's not doing any real damage. And it's like, are you sure about that? He's murked one of you. And it seems like only one of you gives a shit about that. I think he's now murked two of them. And it's like, it seems like none of y'all really care about that. One of you cared, but I think you only cared because you had nothing else better to do.
Probably, yeah.
Because I think it was the main guy running, it was like our main guy running the company. He was just like, I'm kind of out of a job. I'm gonna go beat up Shoma real quick in a fight and then lose to him the next week.
But yeah, I'm hoping we don't have a repeat, is all this is.
Yeah.
But it is not shaping up for getting me interested out the gate.
I don't know. How do you feel about a writer hopping into people's dreams to protect them?
Why?
I figured you were going to be like, why are we doing Wizard 2? I thought that would be your first comment.
I mean, it is tied with that, but why?
I don't know. It's weird, like dreams but spy, and I'm like, okay, is this gonna be like Go Busters, where like we're gonna try, or spies will be an aesthetic, but it won't really be a thing? Because Go Busters had spies as an aesthetic, but they weren't really spies. They didn't really do spy work. Anywho, I figured we'd talk about that real quick before we get into the Gaim, since it's timely! And we rarely get to do timely stuff on anything we do.
True.
But yeah, I guess any thoughts on the Gaim before we hit the recaps?
No.
All right, then we're gonna kick off with episode 5, Revival Ichigo Arms of Friendship. We start a little bit back from the last episode from 2 weeks ago. We get to see Michi's debut as Ryugen. He gets to beat up the Invest Jinochi summons and gets the Strawberry Lock Seed that I'm going to call Strawberry instead of Ichigo for simplicity purposes because
there's also an Ichigo Lock Seed.
yes, that is in a movie that we have talked about. So it's the Strawberry Lock Seed.
Because thank you, Gaim, for deciding to be confusing.
Oh, don't worry. This isn't the last of it because we have a Suika Lock Seed and we have to talk about a V-Summon where we get a Watermelon Lock Seed. Except Suika is watermelon.
Yep.
So we get watermelon and watermelon. And it's like, why are these both watermelon? You could have made one of these not watermelon. Preferably the V-Cinema one.
It's the fun of that.
Uh-huh. Later on, we get Michi being visited. I called Future my Red Eyes in my review. Apparently I didn't have a name for her.
I think at the time we didn't know.
Yeah, I assumed we didn't know who the hell Future Mai was, so I needed a name for her for the recap. And I'm like, why did I call her? I'm just reading this. I'm like, why did I call her Red Eye? But yeah, Michi gets visited by Future Mai in his dream to basically spout nonsense at him, and he's just like, I will fight for you and Kota, specifically you.
Mainly
and she's
you,
like,
and only you.
Yep. Again, I forgot that he has his quirks way earlier in the show than he did. I guess I'm mainly just thinking of like the end of the Beat Writer stuff, really, where like he has that voiceover of like, I will betray everyone necessary to achieve my goals, as he's in the crowd happy. But we find out that a bunch of teams have joined up with Baron, and Baron being this alliance of beat writers to basically crowd out everybody else. One of the folks proposed like teaming up with Baron, but Michi's like, well, do you want to be a backup dancer? Then go ahead, because otherwise we don't get shit from this. Period. Kota shows up to talk to Michi and be like, hey, you keep using that belt, bad shit's gonna happen. And Michi's like, it'll be fine.
What's the worst that can happen?
You have no idea. Later on, Jinochi talks to Kaito, and Kaito does his spiel, and Jinochi's not happy about it. Later on, him and Hase talk, and Sid eyes them as he walks by, which, what subs are you watching for this, out of curiosity?
1 second.
Okay.
Because I honestly don't remember. I want to say it's the TV Nihon ones, but I want to make sure.
Mine are the TV Nihon ones. I only bring it up because TV Nihon has Sid's name spelled CID.
Yeah.
Even
TV
though his
Nihon.
lock seed. Okay. Even though his lock seed has an S on it, so I think his name's supposed to be spelled SID. But whatever.
And that one you can't say, well, we didn't know, because no, we have seen his lock seed quite a few times at this point, and it never gets changed.
Yeah. It also takes us like 3/4 of the show to find out what the damn thing does. But back at the show later on, Kota catches up with Mai, who's practicing, and like tries to be like, "Are we okay? Are you okay with Michi doing this? Because I'm not sure he understands what's going to happen." She's like, "Look, Michi's trying to fight for us. It's okay." Kota's like, "All right." They then get a call that Baron has showed up and wants to fight Michi and has two invests with him to fight Michi that are like full instead of being holograms.
Because it's the thing the belts can do.
Yeah. So Kota shows up, he sees Michi getting his butt kicked for a while, and he's like, well, if I want to help, I have to fight. So Mai goes and gets the belt and lock seed and stuff and throws it to Kota. I do love the shot of Kota breaking the barrier and getting into the fight. That feels appropriate given later stuff.
Yep.
But now it's Kota and Michi versus Baron and his invests. They make quick work of them. And kind of push Kaito back until Junichi and Hase show up with their belts, and then they become Gridon and Kurakage. Which, for those wondering, Gridon is just an anagram for Dongri, which is acorn. And Hase names them both. Does it feel like Hase like punches back at Junichi for as much as he gets manipulated by him?
Yeah.
It never really clicked for me because I'm like, oh yeah, Hase gets used by Junichi all the time. It's like, no, Hase uses him back. They go back and forth on this.
Which is what works so well for both of them.
Yeah, this is not as one-sided as I kind of remembered it being, which is for the better, because if it was one-sided, it kind of makes the later stuff worse.
Yeah.
But here it's like, oh no, there was a genuine friendship here of some sort. But yeah, the two of them transform and then punch the shit out of Kaito, who doesn't lose his lock seed, unlike the two of them, because Kota and Michi step in to stop the two of them from destroying Kaito's belt. And when they get beat up, they do lose their lock seeds. I'm not sure what the difference is.
That's one of those. Just ignore that.
Especially when in a couple episodes, Kaito will get like knocked out and does lose his lock seed.
Yeah, we don't talk about that though.
It just feels weird because I'm like, Kaito's one of the two people in the show right now that it doesn't matter if he loses his lock seed, he can just go get another one for free.
Yep.
And he clearly is taking multiple trips to go find better lock seeds. So like, anyway, this fight happens. Everyone kind of like parts ways after the fight ends. We end the episode with Sid and Takatora, and Sid's like, all right, here's the file and all the people who have the drivers at the moment. You want to take a look at it, Takatora? And Takatora's like, nah, it's fine. I'm sure you got it handled. And we see that Michi's listed in the file, and I'm like, the ball's on Sid to literally wave in Takatora's face. It's like, I hooked up your brother and I have it documented as well. I put it on file and you just don't bother to fucking look. Like, you can get mad at me, but this is your fault now. All you had to do was look. Like, I guess this really does show, like, for as like strong as Takatora is as a writer, he really underestimates everybody that's around him.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh yeah, all these people are on my side because they're working for me for the betterment of humanity, not realizing that every single fucking person he has fucking hired and was working for him have their own goddamn motives and do not give a shit about what he has in mind.
And literally every single person.
Like, we will meet Sengoku, I think, in the last episode. And it's like, Sengoku is basically a Foundation X scientist who's like, not I want, like, to reforge humanity in my image because I'm fucking that kind of guy. Sid just wants to get paid better and will do whatever it takes. Sakura just wants to test humanity. And like, Marika's not in the show yet, but she just wants to just fucking like support whoever she thinks is strongest. There is not a soul in this company that is on Takatora's side. And he is so fucking blind. Anyway, episode 6, Durian Rider Go to War. Sakura gives us the recap events and stuff. Kaito, right. Kaito, actually, the fight with Kaito is in the next episode. I forgot. That's my fault. I thought it was in this episode. That's at the start of the next episode. So yeah, all that stuff happens. Sakura gives us the recap and stuff. Kota continues the job hunt, goes to Charmant so we can get introduced to Orin before he shows up later, who's extra as hell because he's French. Literally, he's French. He just takes one look at Kota and is just like, nope, don't want you, bye. And just tells her to piss off. It's like, you know, it's not for the same reasons, but I know how he feels. Like, Kota struggles to find a job in these next couple episodes, but I'm like, yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, no, I get it a lot. Later on, Mai drops by Kota and his sister's apartment with a thing from some cakes from Charmant, and his sister and Mai are in love with them, and he's just like, I don't understand why people like this asshole. Mm-hmm. Which is going to be his thing for like the rest of the show for a little bit. Then we see that Team Red Hot leaves the Alliance from Baron because they have their own thing. We'll find out later that Sid gave the leader of Red Hot a belt. And then we'll find out later that Orin stole that belt in Lockseat because he took a look at all the beat writers fighting and stuff and went, fucking amateurs, let me show you how a real man fights. Says the ex-military guy beating up a bunch of kids. You think he's just bored?
Yes.
Anyway, he like basically pulls Chidoche and Hase into a fight and proceeds to just beat the shit out of both of them, declaring himself Bravo. Well, Sakura declares him Bravo, but I assume he pulls it from Orin saying Bravo.
Probably.
But yeah, he wipes the floor with them. Interesting enough, his standby will be the second least used standby in the series. The rock standby. Only him and Zack use it. Technically, Bujin Gaim has that standby, but you never hear it in the movie. Because Bujin Gaim never transforms. But yeah, the least used one is actually Michi's, because only he uses it.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Like, presumably a Sengoku driver version of Marika would use it because they are the same, like, Chinese warrior aesthetic. But we never see a Sengoku driver version of Marika. We only ever see a Sengoku driver version of Duke in a V cinema. But yeah, no one else uses Michi standby music. Or uses the Chinese warrior standby music. Which is surprising because there's at least 2 people for everyone else. So I don't know if they may be plans for someone else and then just never bothered with it.
Probably.
But yeah, that takes us through the first half. How you feel about it?
This show does really good with setting everyone up.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly, it's kind of good to see that. I know this isn't what really fully hooked me with the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've tried rewatching the Beat Riders saga, and yeah, no, it does not hook. But looking at it this way and being like, okay, yeah, I see what they set up. Yeah. Yeah,
it feels like a lot's happening. They're throwing a lot of riders at us, but everything is getting a proper amount of focus, so it doesn't feel like we're just getting shit thrown at us just to have shit thrown at us. Like, we are at 6 riders, but yet I feel like I understand where everybody's coming from, at least. Even though 2 of them are clearly jobbers.
and will always be jobbers.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, hey, everyone's gotten time. Everyone's gotten a little bit of spotlight. Like Kota, yeah, he's at like 3 forms currently, but each one of them had a moment and a reason for existing, even if they're all side grades.
Technical side grades.
Yeah.
Pine technically could be considered an upgrade because it is a stronger form, but yeah.
Well, yes, it's the final form, according to that last episode of Geo. No comment?
No comment.
It baffles me that if all suits they could have pulled out of the backlot for Gaim, it's just like, let's throw Pine in this fight. Like, why fucking Pine? Where, like, I at least understood like why Formula was there to do a little hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge at 0-1, since they audibly had him using Matan. But like Pine? Really? Anywho, we'll hit second half then with episode 7, Great Ball Watermelon Big Bang. So Koza tries confronting Oren about this, and Oren's like, I want to teach you kids a lesson. Sakura gives the report on Bravo and stuff and shows him beating up everybody because he's just like, I'm just going to beat up everybody. I'm not associated with anyone. Koda's not happy about it. Mai's a bit too smitten by the Oren's cakes and stuff to care. She's a bit too fangirly this episode for someone who literally wants to rip all of their lives apart. Well, their hobbies apart. The Order of Troopers brings up the point of just like, Oren's, I guess, upset because these kids are like getting notoriety and they haven't really trained to be dancers or anything. And Oren worked really hard to be, get all of his military credentials and then to be a passier by going to France and learning from folks there. And I'm like, is this supposed to be commentary from the writers? This feels like commentary. This feels a little bit of commentary from the writers. It's like, oh yeah, anybody with like the right tech can like make a name for themselves on the internet. You don't need training. You don't need to know what you're doing. And it's like, you sure about that? Anyway, Kaito comes in and is just like, I don't like that he's trying to like take us down, but I at least agree with Oren that you need to fight for stuff. So we'll see him go fight Oren here in a bit. In headquarters, Takatora gets the lowdown on Oren being some military guy, and he's just like, Sid, why the fuck did you give him a belt? And Sid's like, look, I just pass out the belts to whoever. If someone puts the belt on for the person I gave it to, that's on them. That's not my fault. Also at this point they also bring up that Takatora lost the watermelon Loxy, because I forgot to mention, I think I missed it in the writing, or I missed looking for it, but Michi knows that Takatora is at least a rider because he sees his belt and took a watermelon Loxy off of him. And also again, Sid's like, hey, maybe your brother is responsible for this. And he's like, no, my brother's a good boy. He would never do anything wrong. Sir, he is going to kill you, or at least try his damnedest to, in a few dozen episodes. Anyway, the Sengoku and everyone else rubs that in Takatora's face because, again, no one's on Takatora's side, and he does not understand that at all. We cut to Kaito and Oren fighting. Kaito tries to bring in some invest to help him. Oren just takes them out and then beats up Kaito. Takes him down, gets his lock seed, and then just passes back because he's like, I like your gumption. Try harder and fight me next time. Oren showing his Goku there. I'm sure it's not on purpose, but he's very Goku in that moment.
Yeah.
Then we get to Oren confronting Team Gaim. Michi and Kota try to fight him. They lose pretty badly, and then Oren's like, I'm gonna try that thing Kaito did, and cracks open all the Loxies that he's got and then just throws them on the floor and summons the Invest. And Kota and Michi just stare at him and go, what the fuck are you doing? And Oren's like, what do you mean? I'm summoning the Invest like you all do. And everyone's like, you hold the Lock Seed when you do that to control them. And Oren's just like, I do what now? So a whole massive Invest are on the rampage now because Oren never thought that them holding the Lock Seeds meant anything. Good job. I would think he would catch on to that.
One would think.
Like, they're holding the Lock Seeds for some reason. I wonder if there's a reason for that. Instead of, I'm just gonna throw this shit on the floor. It'll be fine. They'll listen to me. Right? But yeah, Kota and Michi have to clean up the mess. They do pretty well of it until one Invest gobbles up all the Lock Seeds, gets bigger. So Kota has to use the watermelon Lock Seed that Michi threw him. If we get to see him roll around in a watermelon in the big robot mode, because would this be the technical start of the yearly robot rider form?
Maybe.
Like, there's not technically one in Drive. And there's not one in Ghost. Actually, there's not really one in... This is an outlier, but, like, this feels like the start of that concept. But yeah, we get the big I find it funny that they keep the handles that they're technically supposed to be using to control the bigger robot arms on the CG model, except they don't show them holding the handles to control it. I also have to wonder how much of the Suika arms suit actually exists, because they clearly have the insert piece for the eyes. They have some part of the chest made, and then they have an arm made. Like, how much of that is there, and how much of it is just like on a stick for somebody in the back to like run around with? Because I'm sure they don't have a full model.
Now I'm sitting here thinking about them running around with a stick.
the big robot arm on a stick.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Kota makes quick work of the big Invest after chasing it down. I love how he chases it down in the ball mode and doesn't figure out how to do the flight mode. But he does think to pass Michi the bike so he can catch up. But the two of them take him out. Oren's ready to fight them, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta have to go cook something. We'll fight later. And it runs off, and the two of them are like, well, that happens. And that's the episode. Which takes episode 8, Baron's New Power, Mango. Sakura gives the recap and shows that since Kaito lost to Oren, but Gaim beat Oren, Gaim is now the #1 beat writer team, which Team Gaim celebrates, but they're like, well, we will have to be better, get better since we're #1 and stuff. Kota continues to not find a job. This is also the first week we get the winter crossover openings. So we get footage from Sogoku Movie Tyson, which I did note my review was like, if you have not watched Wizard, this is just full of spoilers for Wizard.
God, yeah.
Literally the first frames of the opening is Koyomi in a black dress walking up ready to murder people. And if you don't know what happened in Wizard, you're like, what the fuck is happening? Why is Koyomi trying to kill people?
Yeah.
Granted, you wouldn't know anyway coming out of Gaim, but still. But past the opening, Michi's trying to use the watermelon, but it's on cooldown, which is their excuse to go, look, this is a big CGI cost, so...
Budget can't handle that.
We have to write in an excuse for watermelon to not show up like every week.
For Suika.
Well, for Suika to not show up every week. So it goes on cooldown. Why does this Loxy go on cooldown and none of the others? I don't know. Reasons.
Plot reasons.
Yep. Takatora sees footage of the Loxy in action, so it's like, maybe your brother stole it, and that ended up in Team Gaim's hands. And Takatora's like, again, no, he's a good boy. He would never steal from me. He would never do anything wrong. He is a good, smart boy doing at school and stuff. And I really do not question why he comes home late all the time, or what he does on his downtime, or talk about his hobbies, or anything. I am a terrible brother, aren't I?
It's one of those, I never question anything that he does, even though he does shady stuff all the time. Oh, crap.
You think there would be a moment of just like, look, I never question why he comes home late often, or why he has that bag that would carry bag with all sorts of clothes and stuff, or why there is this person on Team Gaim that looks suspiciously like my brother. Because has he not seen footage of the beat writers dancing, or any of the crowd footage from the fights?
Obviously not.
Because if he did, he would see Nietzsche there.
And anyone thinking, oh, well, he's just ignoring that to let him live his own life. No, he legitimately does not know that. It comes to a surprise.
Truly, he is blind as fuck on all aspects. And I'm just like, for as badass and as like powerful as you are, you have no idea what's happening around you. Which I think is supposed to be the trade-off. It's just like, yeah, he can whip everybody's ass. He has no idea what anyone's motives are, or why anyone's fighting. And I think a part of him just doesn't care, because he's like, oh no, our goals are more important. I don't care what their like inner fight between these kids are. I don't give a shit. It's not important. We're trying to stop the apocalypse here. We've got better shit to do. Anyway, we cut the Mai who's practicing in the street. She finds a crack to Helheim and decides to try to call Kota for backup. And Kota's busy. And she's like, I guess I'm going in.
Kota's busy not getting a job again.
Yep. And Michi's not her immediate second call on this.
Ever.
No. Because we don't see her call Michi. I don't know if the text she sent is to a group chat between the three of them, or between all of Team Gaim.
It wouldn't be between all of the team. Yeah. Because the rest of the team doesn't know about all this stuff yet.
Yeah. But like, Kota and Michi do show up at the same time at the same location. So clearly she at least texted him.
Maybe. And I only say that knowing the downward spiral that Michi's going to go through.
Yeah.
She might not have.
You ever wonder how Gintro would just solve some shows just by existing in them? Through sheer force of, you will communicate with each other and I will force the situation if necessary.
Right?
Like, Gintro is probably the best, like, people reader of the franchise, and would immediately just, like, go like, Michi, you need to talk about your like issues with like your crush, your feelings of needing to do stuff regardless of the consequences. You probably need to talk to Michi about his crush and like figure that out, whether that's going to be a thing or not before it gets worse. Hey Takatora, you're a shitty brother. You need to talk more. Anyway, Kota and Michi get there. They see the cracks gone, but the bits of flora are still there. So Kota hops on his bike and heads in. When it's just like, Michi, stay here and keep everybody else safe. And that's when he gets a call from the team that's like, hey, since at the clubhouse, he wants to talk to someone. We do catch up with Mai. She's getting attacked by Inves, and Kaito manages to come in and save her. Hooray! And the two of them head off. We do get a little bit of their backstory later, where Kaito's dad, his factory got bought out by Yggdrasil, and the city got remodeled, and he couldn't do anything about it, and so he's mad at the world over that, and thinks that, well, strength will solve all my problems, right?
Except that's not how that works.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we get into Mai's backstory too much. I think they established that she lived. She's from Zalome City.
Yeah,
but I don't think they get into. They don't get into like her being. I forget if she's technically a Shrine Maiden, or if she was the daughter of a family that of Shrine Maidens at a shrine. I know that's later.
Yeah, I think that's. I know that's later. I don't think they get even remotely into it.
Yeah. I think we get into that when we get into like how Yggdrasil, why Yggdrasil's in this damn city to start with. But yeah, the reason Kaito's there is to find more lock seeds because he's trying to find a better one. Even though there's only like, I think like 12 regular lock seeds in the entire show that we see. You have to wonder how many of those copies are just laying about. Anyway, we go back to Team Gaim's clubhouse. Michi talks to Sid about like the whole watermelon lock seed. He's just like, hey Sid, we're friends, right? I need a favor. And Sid's like, you know what? I like fucking with Takatora by helping you, so sure. Again, I feel like Sid's only helping Michi because he's like, oh, Takatora is going to be pissed about this, and it will be hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I know this kid's not going to go anywhere. But it will be hilarious when Takatora finds out that his kid's been doing all the shit behind his back. Back with Mai and Koto, they find a portal out, but Invest is nearby, and Kaito tries to fight it, and it does badly. We do get the wonderful moment of Koto arriving in the forest, Looney Tunes style, driving off a cliff, and then ending up face first, ass up on the ground.
Yeah, I wish there was a gift for that. That would have fit better.
I think I have the gif of him going off the cliff, but I don't have the gif of him landing. At least I'm pretty sure I have the gif of him.
You probably do.
Looney Tunesing his dumb ass off the cliff. I was looking for that in the background. But yeah, Koto manages to catch up with them as Michi also revives on a bike, and Koto's like, where did you get the bike? And Michi's like, don't worry about it.
It's not important right now.
Don't worry about it. We're looking for mine. That's the important part. But yeah, two of them catch up with Kaito. They fight this Dragon Invest into a warehouse because of course so. Unfortunately, it is thickly armored, so Michi gets to stand on the sidelines with Mai as Koto and Kaito struggle to fight it. And so Koto goes pine, and then Kaito's like, guess I'm trying my new one, and then pulls out Mango and then beats the shit out of it with his big dumb mace. But they blow it up. Day is saved. But then Michi and Mai are like, wait, if people can get stuck in the forest when the portal closes, do you think there's Invest stuck in the city? Cut to Invest murking some random schmuck. Guess that answers that question. But that'll do it for the back end. How do you feel about the back end?
I forgot that we actually got some character development, some pretty heavy character development this early.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we have another show like this?
Because they don't want to hire someone who's willing to do it. Oh, I also have the gif of Orin running across the screen with the big giant girder that's in these 4 episodes.
Oh, jeez.
Do I not have? Oh, nope, there it is. There is the gif of Kota running his dumbass off a cliff. But yeah, it's just like, hey, progression. Even though we don't have like hard villains really, we still have an antagonistic force that is moving forward. We have a mystery that we're getting questions answered on. Like, there's progression in this show, and that's something I was feeling like we were lacking in Gav. And I am very happy to see it. But I guess anything else?
No.
All right, then. In 2 weeks, we will pick this up and continue our adventures through Gaim. But between now and then, Thursday will be more CAD. Friday, it is Cubage. I forgot. What for Cubage?
Same.
I was supposed to say it's something random. Evolution Worlds, some rando RPG, right? That one. Saturday will be something.
Yep.
And then next Sunday will be TGS, where we will talk about Xbox shitting the bed. And hopefully something positive to balance out Xbox shitting the bed so goddamn hard. It's ridiculous. Like, oh good lord, can we get some good news this week? Because I need something to balance that out. Please. Please. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back with Gaim. So if you like what you're seeing, folks, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Exclamation point YouTube and chat gets the YouTube archive of this and all of our other streams eventually. Exclamation point social and chat gets the handles for all of our social medias. And exclamation point Discord and chat gets the link. Drop by, say hi. See you Thursday, folks.